Hello everybody, time for another episode. Hope everybody's doing well. I've got this area in front of the station here where obviously the platform is made of XPS foam with styrene on top, and I need to kind of blend it into the landscape in front of it by making a gradual slope down to this area here. And I've been considering what material to use for that, and I've decided that rather than using plaster, as you see so often, I'm going to use paper mache. This is stuff I found. Amazon, 2 packs for about £15. It's made in Spain, Jovi. There's others out there too. I think in the States there's a product called Fast Mash. Same idea. This is also relatively fast drying. It's not going to take weeks or anything. It's ready to use, and basically works as if you were using modeling clay. So I'm going to give it a try and see how it works out. It's my first time of using this product. The paper mache material that I'm familiar with is what you did at school years ago, using newspapers torn into pieces and with wallpaper paste, mix it all up, and then it was all gooey and yucky and the rest of it. This is obviously ready mixed, so no mess in that sense, but I do believe it's also a bit powdery and stuff like that, so I will have to cover the adjacent areas up a little bit with some paper, newspaper, or whatever else I've got laying around, just to cover it up and protect it a bit. And I think I'm going to wear some latex gloves as well, just so that I'm not getting it all underneath my nails and on my fingers and all the rest of it. So I'll make some preparations and I'll be back. What I forgot to mention, by the way, this material is available in several colors: white, grey and terracotta. I don't really care what color I'm using because it's going to get painted over anyway, but this should work well, I think. You can still add water, by the way, spray it over and smooth the surface out if that's what you need, but I'm going to see how it works. So I'm going to have to be careful opening it up, because after use I need to seal the remaining material up in the package to prevent it from drying out, and I don't think I need a lot. It's basically to make the transition smooth, and the rest will be masked over with scenery like bushes and all the rest of it. So there we go. Let's open this up along the dotted line, and let's see what awaits me. Again, I won't open it all the way up. Actually, looks like I had to go grey one. I thought I ordered the white one, but not matter. As I said, indeed, it's lovely material. As they say, it's like clay. Look at the consistency of this. So let's see how we can work that into the landscape here. It's definitely far less dusty than I expected it to be, but it does leave some residue behind, I see already. So let's pop that in. Can never be too careful. When trying out something new. So far it's far less messy than using any form of plaster, which is obviously dusty and messy, and yeah, this is actually working out surprisingly well. Oops. I dropped some on the floor, that's obviously not a good thing. So let's have a look. Wonderful stuff. Again, this is quite surprising.
How this comes together. Look at that.
Okay, look at that. Obviously, you can use sculpting tools to shape it. If you were to use this for a rock face or mountains or something like that, it'd be quite easy to model. I'm pretty sure it would be. This looks good. So let's have a look what happens if you wet it. I'm just curious, see how this goes. So you're part of a live experiment here, or live. If this goes wrong, it will be on YouTube for the rest of the days. And indeed, look at that. You can just smooth it out as if it was modeling clay indeed. Look at it. Yeah, this shows you why you do need gloves, if you don't want to have your hands messy. Wonderful. Definitely happy with my choice here. So what I don't know yet is what it will do in terms of shrinkage. I don't believe it does. That is obviously something we'll find out after like 24 hours or so. Come back tomorrow evening and we'll see what the results are, but yeah, this looks good. Yeah, pretty good. And as I said, it looks a bit strange perhaps to have this slope here. But the Netherlands isn't flat, and as soon as this is scenic with various types of bushes and weeds and all the rest of it, you're not going to notice it so much. It will be more natural of a transition here. So let's just remove that imprint. There we go. Sorted. Wonderful. So, modelling clay, or modelling paper mache, paper clay as this is called, made by Jovi from Spain. Air dried, so perfect for this sort of work, because obviously with some craft clay it'll need to go in an oven to dry, this is ideal for model railroad applications, so give it a try. So here's the result after 24 hours. You can see it's not completely dry yet, and that's probably due to the thickness of the material here. So it might take a little longer to dry than any plaster type scenery would do, but it's not a problem. It was, I think, the pros of easy application and the relatively clean way of working is making up for that, so all good. So while the paper mache still is a little bit wet, I did go ahead and put a base layer of latex paint down, the same kind of mocha chocolate color that I've got on the other foam here, and I've also sprinkled on some mud, some ground, and I'm sprinkling a few other tints through the same area just to get some color variation in the ground. Not too much, just a little bit. And this will get the diluted white glue treatment in a minute. So first, of course, we need to make sure that we've dried the area up. I mean, close them up. Here we are. More than enough, and we're going to go ahead and apply some white glue over the top. Sorry for all the creaking. The loft construction is made of wood. So here we are. Okay, it's nicely flowing out. There will be several layers of this, obviously. Nice part of water-based scenery is that you can mix things quite easily. And just a little trivia for those that didn't know, water soluble scenery methods were first popularized by an American model railroader called Frary. His book is still for sale, go and look for it. I think it's just called Modelrailway Scenery. I do have it somewhere in my book collection. It's been on the market many decades already, but it hasn't really lost any of its value. Okay, there are some newer materials on the market. I think when the book was first written there was no such thing as static grass and things like that, but go and look. It's useful even now. So yeah, so that's the ground. Scatter, or dirt, should I say, stone powders and dust and whatnot, clay is what this is supposed to imitate. That's on top now. So the next step actually is going to be a little bit of ground turf, ever so slightly. I want this area to be slightly less manicured, if that makes sense. This bit around the station there is not landscaped by a gardener or kept by a farmer. It's just a bit of wild scenery in the direct vicinity here, at least here at the front. So for that area I'm actually going to use a little bit of tried and trusted materials. It's some Woodland Scenics Earthblend turf. Again, this one, it's a nice neutral color. Just sprinkle that in again, full color variations. So we get some browns and greens and everything for a little bit of realism. Again, I may have mentioned it before, otherwise I'll mention it again, or I'll mention it now. The key to success of a relatively realistic landscape is two elements. It's color and texture. So make sure you pick natural colors. A lot of, particularly, it's getting a lot better nowadays when you can find it in the shops, but quite a lot of turfs and static grasses and mats and other scenery materials. The colors are just too bright. It's almost too romantic, if that makes sense. Yes, you can take a picture of a summer landscape and the colors are vibrant, and in 1-to-1 scale that isn't necessarily it's not bad, but if you scale it down onto a model, it just very quickly becomes overpowering, because you see everything very condensed. So tone it down a little bit. If you think that's a nice bright summer grass, if that's the season you're modeling, take 1 or 2 notches down from there and it'll come across more realistic. And again, blend colors. Even if you think a field has one color, while there might be one dominating vegetation type there that has a certain color, even that will vary ever so slightly due to groundwater levels and things like that. Some areas might have more moisture in the soil, so they grow better than other places. Sun exposure, things like that. And there'll be weeds and things like that, unless it's a perfectly manicured lawn at a residential house or park or garden. If you go into nature, the variety is much more wide, should I say. There'll be different kind, like I said, there'll be different kind of weeds growing in there, plants, shrubbery. So, and they have various sizes and shapes and colors. There might be wildflowers in there, again depending on the season. So take pictures when you're out for a walk. If you are modeling your local area, for example, go out, take pictures, observe what's around you, look at scales, and then work with it, and you'll get better results if obviously that's what you're after. If you just want to run trains on a piece of plywood, all the power to you. Enjoy, have fun. That's the important. It's your railroad, not someone else's. I like many aspects of model railroading. I quite enjoy the scenery part. It's the creative, the creating part of it, and I like it. My end effect is that if I take a picture, once it's all ready, I take a picture of an area. First of all, people maybe recognize it if it's modeled after a real area like this, which is a job half done. But also, take a picture of it, and if it looks realistic, if it looks real, people have to look twice before they realize it's a model they're looking at. Then that's mission accomplished for me. Anyway, keep on modeling, keep on playing, and I'll see you in the next one. So this is the basic wild field next to the station, now accented with some hedges from Woodland Scenics Supply. I made this look as a bit of an unkempt area, not really well maintained. There's some dead patches in there. Glue is still bad, so hence the white areas here a little bit. And I've got a couple of tools here weighing the hedge down because the terrain is not quite straight there, and I don't want the material is a bit stiff, so I don't want it to stick out and float over the landscape, if that makes sense. So another step of many still to do, but that's the fun.